up, y'all, and welcome to today's episode of Skeptic and Ranting. Boom, boom, boom. And I have to stay over here. The cat may be able to be there, but I generally burn, I think, when the sun is out. That's okay. Welcome.
Thinking about the sun.
Listen, when I go by churches.
Oh, well, then they sporadically burn.
Yes. When I open Bibles, the Skeptic's annotated. It's the only one I can. However, tonight we are watching in Catholic Priest Perfectly Explains the Devil. We are watching a video from the channel TJ Seaney called Catholic Priest Perfectly Explains the Devil. Society's Disbelief in Demons. Bishop Barron. I think that's a Sith Lord. Wait, no? Anyway, won't you join James W. and myself, A.B. Newman, for a most devilishly good time.
Do the sign of it.
Woo! Thank you for joining us out there on. Oh my goodness! Now we have two cats. The internet gets better the more cats that are on. But thank you for joining us on the intertubes. Thank you, Al Gore. Thank you, everyone, as we join in this Skeptic and Ranting Catholic Priest Explains the Devil. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. I said it, YouTube. I said it.
She said it.
Let them go. But also, don't forget to share.
Let our people go.
Let our people go. Because
there was like, okay, I would love to. I would like to let your people go, but this prick.
That story
won't allow me to do it.
One of the stories within the Bible that makes me think God is a giant prick. Like, he sets that entire story up. He puts the people there, and then
gets his people enslaved.
And then he, we go through this whole baby in a river for some reason, and he becomes
it's a foreshadow of Jesus. It's a mini Jesus story. He's getting his people ready for it, even though they'll reject it when it actually happens. So it's a big waste of time. But
yes,
that's
or as we like to call it in the modern times, like a good Christopher Nolan. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Not only when you hit the like, follow, and share, but if you get to hit that bell icon to all, that's how it actually gets into your feed. We get to say hello to you. Like, what is up? What is up, Native Atheist and Captain Butt?
We're here now.
Everybody, keep on saying hi. We'll say hi to you. We also have a lot of of me making my gears. At the end, we will, because it's only a 10-minute bite, so we should have long enough to go to a open mic. So at the end of the opposition viewpoint, you will have a chance to join us, atheist, theist, liberal, or conservative. Come as you are, just not on the books.
Too late.
Damn it. James, you know how hard it is to get that.
Very hard. This is just like a preview, because we at some point we need to get up to the Bishop Fulton Sheen. I sent you a clip of his maybe a year and a half ago, but we'll eventually get around to him.
I just like how there's the hierarchy.
He's a Catholic bishop. He had a TV show for like 20 years where he would preach Catholicism to the nation. So
In other words, spreading nonsense. But I
Yeah.
always like how they view themselves, and you see this in the video, they view themselves as the intellectual version of theism. But I like how even in this video, he's like, but we're going to be naughty and dip ourselves into nonsense.
Well,
I like when I eat
so
chocolate late night too.
like Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, that's not their last name. Their last name is Estevez. They use the moniker of Sheen in honor of this Catholic bishop who had this TV show for 15 or 20 years, Fulton Sheen.
Really?
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. You learn something new every day, don't you?
It's so random. I mean, I completely understand.
Hey.
You know, when you go into the
Show
entertainment
business.
industry, show business, whatever you want to call it, that taking on a name, and then I can hear in the back of my head, there's nothing wrong with finding your place in life and finding a new name. But it is interesting that comes from a religious context. I had no idea. What is up, Flum? What is up, mad computer scientist? Mwah, to everyone out there. Yes, there are, before we go into the opposition viewpoint, there are many ways you can support the channel. You can send in super chats and we'll dance around. Mostly I'll dance around, but we'll have fun with them and interact. And
Gizmo will meow.
Gizmo will basically run the show and basically give everyone what they want, which is meowing and being a cat. And the internet needs as many cats and gizmos, as many gizmos as possible.
I'll be like the guy Wilson from Home Improvement. I'll just be, you'll only see like the top of my face behind Gizmo. Yeah.
That is okay.
Sodomite.
That is sometimes what they sound like in a weird way. You're going to hell.
Driving on the highway to hell. Get that gas pedal floored, waiting to burn, huh? Yeah.
I also like how that very specific apologist, I very much imagine when he's telling people to go to hell, I imagine he goes, and I'll see you in hell, sir.
That's right, sir.
That's right, sir.
I'll be roasting marshmallows over you. Me and Jesus will be roasting our marshmallows over you.
Boy, Jesus. It's not gay, though, because, it's like a supernatural relationship. And so it's okay that we call him Daddy.
Could have sex with God. I guess he's multi-gender.
He is by perfect, because every once in a while I get like a theist, so it'll be like, well, how about you go and have some sex with God is what it looks like you're looking for. And it's like, funny, you should talk about that. We've met a guy. We were down by the train at 3 a.m. and there was just a guy that came up in a trench coat trying to explain to us why.
I didn't see he's still uploading. If he took his comedy show on the road, I don't know.
Oh my goodness! I hope he did. He did have a lot of episodes for not a lot of eyeballs. That was the only reason why I thought he was real. Everyone thinks that he's a troll, but if he's a troll, he's a dedicated troll to not a lot of people. Maybe he just enjoys going out. He outsources.
Maybe he loves it.
Yeah, so exactly. It's the love of the game, James. It's the love of and the love of God, if you know what I'm saying. And he does, unfortunately. Anyway, you can also send in super thanks in the future. And then we have our membership with our evolving badge system. You can hit join below. And evolution, James. What is it about evolution I was watching last night? Okay, because I shouldn't say hate watch, because I want this guy to win, even though you completely tell me to keep on rooting for. Listen, I was watching Brett Keane last night. He had, I don't know who this lady was, and I shouldn't be objectifying her like this, but she was gorgeous on last night, and she was brilliant. She was amazing. She tried and sit there and slowly explain evolution to him, and he had like the Kethoven slides on there, like the graphs, the like, did you know that you're related to the cockroach and the, I don't know why it became Bill Cosby for a second, and the banana, and like, you know, the shtick. And very easily explainable things once you understand that it is a tree of life, and yes, you are connected to all organisms, even though it's crazy. Oh my God. It's a banana, James.
She turned into Bill Cosby. She's going to ask people, how much vodka would you like with your Quaaludes?
I was going to say, just don't check the coffee. It's okay.
Yes. Keep them coming. Keep the Quaaludes coming.
That's right. But my goodness, I don't get what it is about Evelyn. Like, I say I don't, but I do. Like, I understand that if they accept basically rudimentary, like, middle school science, that the religion does fall apart. We don't even need, like, the hard stuff with the physics. No, it's just, you just need, like, a guy not to be 600 years old.
Like Ken Hoven's like, oh, you know, once the dam breaks, the whole thing just washes right on through. So we gotta make sure there's no holes in that dam. Oh, all right, Sinister.
James, I had to make sure I put the hole because it is warm out. But I love my cats. Sponsored by cats. Basically, this podcast so far. What is up so much? This Sinister Porpoise. What is up, Mr. Creenan? What is up, Pat? Yes, we're having a devilish good time. It's the sign of the apocalypse. It is day, right? Maybe hell has frozen over. That's interesting that God wants to use, and it has to be God. I mean, it's not. Did Satan choose fire, or could it have been a hell-like torture pit? And like, can you choose the scenery in the background?
That's God.
That's just built in.
Yeah.
She'll take this chair. She like prefers the pink chair.
But what did I heard an apologetic that hell, Amy, is actually a grace. It is an act of mercy on God's part because for the sinner, for the unrepentant, for the evildoer, it would be worse to be in God's presence. That would be more of an affliction for us to be with him forever than for us to be burning forever. James, we would be much happier in hell than we would be in his holy, holy, holy presence.
Exactly. And so it's okay. We're just going to torture, murder, do tons of horrible, horrible things to you. But really, if you think about it, you would be shaming and degrading his glory. Once again, the good guy.
Well, I mean, you think, I mean, how amazing will it be to be able to sit there and praise God forever? And that's all you can do because that's all you're programmed to do. You never think about anything else. The thought would be unbearable. Just sit there. I would love nothing more than to just sit there with Amy and say, God, you're so great. God, I love you. You're the best God ever. You're
been
really
brought
great God.
Up by other atheists that if you have children that you think are in hell, and you're in heaven, and you're happy because your kids are burning, either you're a terrible human being or they have transformed you so much into you're really not the same person as really some different entity. At least it doesn't mind your kids burning in hell.
No, you'll know that God is the ultimate justice, and you'll realize that that what's happening is good. It's just. It's moral. It's the most moral outcome possible. So you'll praise God for his righteousness and his
and can I tell you
judgment.
That is henchman logic. It is always he can beat the shit out of you. That is why his morals are the greatest. And
mafia boss mentality, right?
Yes. What is up, DJ Rat Girl? What's up, Sandals? The devil is very horny, if you know what I mean. Evolving badge system. And the final way is to do our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. Chilling mode complete. It helps keep the lights on.
Keep this on your radar. So, Atheist Jr. does have a debate coming up with Holen in the next week and a half or so.
Really?
Say like the 4th or 5th, yeah.
Oh my
goodness. Specifically on whale evolution. Specifically on whales.
There was like a flood of jokes that hit my head. That
specifically whales.
Just specifically whales. Is there going to be an open mic? Can we dress?
I don't know. That can you dress as a whale penis? I don't know. Do they make costumes?
We can make a mold. Oh, let me tell you, there's a multitude of things. We can dress up like whales. We could dress up then more specifically like the phallic, objects on the whale. I would be open to dressing as the thing that the whale eats. I don't know. It'd be so funny to troll.
15. I guess you could get Rachel to sit on your shoulders, maybe, and you can be on the femboy to get like the full 15 feet. But I mean,
full 15, the full experience.
If you're gonna go whale dick,
I will say,
full 15 feet.
I have full confidence in AJ and
I'm sure
his wittiness.
He'll do really
but
good. Yeah.
I do say, I wish that he would pull the kind of. He was very polite to which is kind of funny. The times we debated, I think when he knows that he is with comedians, he does less sass. Or the one times that he tries to do it, it ends up
bad.
He didn't go after my gender. I wish he would. I was like,
oh, I was ready for it.
Yes. All right. So, opposition viewpoint. Let's start to get into it. What we're talking about today. We are skeptic and ranting. Oh, I forgot the shout outs. Do shout outs very quickly. Just sending shout outs to Azo, reminding us as I choke on air. Woo, that we have. We have a skeptic and ranting community. And you are all a part of. We love you. Also, always an alternative to religion, because sometimes it's hard to find a community outside of these little cliques that the religious groups make. Unfortunately, whole countries and things like that. James. That's what makes me sad sometimes, though, that I know this is not the space travel age, because we're just living in such
too early.
There's still so much like both conspiracy theory and straight out superstition, and just a lot of those in this like era. And I know that we have access to a lot of information. That's what the internet has provided for us, but it is just such the Wild West right now. Like, it's just everyone and every blog, and
we do kind of get a front row seat to the decline of religion. It is going to be a monumental time in human history. 100,000 years from now, they'll be looking at this time, the decline of religion, the birth of the scientific era, maybe in the 17, 18.
Oh, absolutely. Really. There's a lot, as pessimistic as I was on that, there's still a lot to be hopeful. We are in the most scientific, most inspired by Enlightenment era values that has ever been. That is just something we need to keep on fighting for and push on. It's trending in the right direction. The problem is that there's just so much still of nonsense. Just so much. The anti-vaccine thing always gets me. What is up, Titan Uranus? Just, I will continue to say there is a simple, quick fix. There's almost a vaccine, so to speak, for anti-vaxxers. And that is simply ask them what a vaccine is. What's a vaccine? And after a possibly long pause, if they give any answer at all, or we'll ask you what you think a vaccine is. Because once again, they know what it is. They just don't want to tell you.
It's a satanic ritual. They take the aborted babies and then they culture the vaccines off of them. It's a human sacrifice, and then they inject it into your kids to mark them as property of Satan. If you take your kid to the doctor and get them vaccinated, you're basically giving them over to Satan.
Yes, we call it the Babavax. Bavax for sure.
Yeah. Human sacrifice for Satan. Yeah.
It's always for Satan. That is the other thing. I guess I don't know if I should do my PSA before or after. I guess because I'm saying it, and then we'll get into the opposition viewpoint. Because that's why it's the opposition, right, James? Because we don't have really a monologue or anything. But I will continually say this, and this is as spicy as I'm going to get. And I mean this with a lot of love. But demons are childish beliefs. Like, to really believe that it's not bad people doing things, it's really this secret force. It's this supernatural, or dare I say, magical force that is making people do bad things. It just makes me want to go, no, grow up. And listen, I have a lot of childish behaviors of myself. It's just very... Anyway, there's my PSA.
That is an awesome cup, Amy. I agree with Ian on that.
Oh, thank you. And I very much love what is supposed to be bean water. I say that. Okay, I'm just going to clear it. Muted it so you didn't have to hear it. But yes, thank you so very much, my lovely bean water, because it is also filled with like 6 scoops of chocolate and 3 scoops of cinnamon and cream and cream and cream and cream and cream. But then I think there is coffee. We could say inspired by coffee. Yes, shout outs. Azo, thank you so much. Electrolytes. It's what plants crave. Oh my goodness. We're in such weird times. Like, I really wish I would take Camacho. I'm not going to get political, but it's just a weird time. In fact,
the Camacho.
I clearly mean it for one person, and yet I guess I'll let your imagination fill your mind on which politician this was. But I would, if it was Camacho could fill their place, I would take them in a heartbeat. I never thought that would come, like, in history in my life. We always joke it's a documentary. I wish it was. Anyway, dude, electrolytes, James. It has what plants crave.
Rondo.
All right, I just gotta
water, like from the toilet.
From the toilet. That's disgusting.
Nose prosthesis. No, it's his nose. I think your nose is a prosthetic.
My nose is a prosthetic.
No.
Yes, I sometimes get Gizmo's nose is a prosthetic. Gizmo is adorable.
Davegar.
Oh my goodness! I went back to the screens and I saw him. He is so cute. He's so fluffy. I get the feeling I'm getting it when the door sometimes opens. That means there's a fluffiness inside. Okay, I'm just gonna give her the chair that she wants.
Unless you've got
James,
a femboy coming in on all fours.
See, she's muted. Mew? See, now I say Mew if she's not muted. Okay.
Made up by Gatorade Distilled. Hey, what are the electrolytes? There's sodium, calcium.
They're basically salts.
A couple other ones.
Fancy words for different types of salts.
Yeah.
That we need to help us. It's crazy to think that salt water, because we think of ocean water, we can't drink ocean water, and that's true. But to a certain degree, you do need a certain amount of salts.
Just way, way, way saltier than we can drink.
Yes, that's
a little bit of salt. It's not bad.
Go towards seawater, or really moving water is what you want. Go. Actually go chasing waterfalls, I think is what they're supposed to say. Yes. Anyway, thank you. Sending love to Chris the Cyborg. So much love, Chris. He sends us so much love, reminding us that theists can also be skeptics. And really, that is what we're trying to promote here. It is Skeptic Ranting. The whole point is that we're being skeptical of our belief systems, and there is a home for you no matter who you are. Also, I want to continue pointing out that theists, I shouldn't, but it is true. The theists sometimes hate each other more. I love us being used as a standard because we just sit there with popcorn and they say things like, not even the atheists, and you go, oh God, not even us. So yes, that's always fun. And often. Sometimes they try to unite themselves because we have this weird clarity, like cleanness. They always try and they want purity tests. They want to do no true Scotsmans. And then we have this odd purity. And we just say, well, we don't know. Or they can't all be right, but they can't all be wrong. And,
I think a lot of them, like, they consider themselves like immunized from atheism. We're not really a threat to them. Like, they know that the God exists and whatnot. But so to them, the bigger threat is the one who's going to lead them into believing a false version of Christianity. Like they know God's real. They're not worried about atheism. They know that God exists. Hey, Robin. But
and what's up, Beamsy? And what's up, Davegar? And what's up, Lunar? I almost said Lunar. And what's up, everybody?
Like we're just.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Because and I can tell you why, or at least I think of why. I think we're all armchair psychologizing, but it's because they view us, I would think, a little bit more fairly, because we're not saying that Star Wars is our galaxy or our thing is more believable than Harry Potter or vice versa or whatever, or Star Trek versus Star Wars. There's a war. We're saying we think those are both TV shows or movies. And so they have to get in the nitty gritty and they have to quote their books and they have to try and do internal dialogues between their both. Well, did you know that in my book, it says that you should believe, he quotes this and it says you should believe my guy. Okay. And then this guy goes, yeah, well, in my book, it actually says that these guys were corrupted and you're a douchebag. Says it right there.
The Islamic version, right?
Yes, exactly. Oh my goodness.
The Bible was corrupted. And
can I also say, and I know we're taking pot shots at Catholicism, but we take pot shots at all of them. And just another annoying thing that the Quran was not given by an angel. And I know how it was written by now. First of all, do you know where the original version of the Quran came from?
You tell me.
Well, in fact, James, it was from memorization because it was oral tradition. Okay? Now, if you're learning it from someone else, that means you're memorizing the interpretation or the words that they're saying over and over. You hope that you're getting it correct each and every time. James, what does it mean to memorize something you created? That's amazing. Muhammad had memorized the entire Quran. Isn't that amazing, James? The angel told him about it, and he memorized it all. Or, better interpretation, he made it up. And then where did the actual person, the actual Quran come from? Well, he told it to people because he made shit up. And so he told it to these scribes, and eventually he died. And so you have these first caliphs and early risers. You have people and early scribes like Abu Bakr who eventually write the Quran, and yet the myth sticks. It came clearly from Gabriel, and yet chances are Muhammad just made it up. Just like the other guy during his time. He's not alone. If you think I'm trying to pick on just Muhammad, there's another guy, almost the Mormonism, Joseph Smith. A little bit later, but still the third successor of the Christianity and Judaism. Could have gotten it from angels and seer stones, or could have just made it up.
So yeah, if you talk to like intellectuals or people who follow intellectual, a scholarly opinion on like the historicity of Jesus, and some of the things they'll throw out there, oh, well, we appeal to the simplest explanation because that's usually correct. So the simplest explanation of this is that it had to be based on an actual person. That's the best, most reasonable explanation, even though we don't have a lot of evidence for the existence of it, but it's the most reasonable explanation. Okay, well, I've got an explanation. People started writing shit up in books. Other people read it. They believed it to be true. There you go.
I mean, Jesus
doesn't need to be based on a real dude.
Jesus never wrote a single thing. In fact, it should be called, as someone I think like Lunar said, at least gave me inspiration, it should be called Pollyanity. Because really, he wrote the vast majority, and a lot of the other stuff is just anonymous.
Writing, claiming to be Paul.
That's true.
There are at least a few of letters that.
But Paul is such another shady, like
where the authorship is very questionable.
Yeah, and I'm sorry once again the little bit of lag or something. I feel like I'm talking over, but Paul met Jesus 50 years after. 50 years. The dude was dead or supposedly had rose, and so 47 years since he just disappeared. 47 years later, he appears randomly to Paul. And what evidence do they give? Well, he really hated Christians before, and now he doesn't. So clearly, he met the Son of God. That's the only reason to stop being a dick, James, is basically you meet the Son of a God. You stop persecuting minorities.
I mean, things like that happen. I've heard stories of Christian pastors and missionaries who have converted to Islam, and they'll say that, like, when they went to a mission trip, like Indonesia or some other majority Muslim country, and they heard the call to prayer, and they're like, and the other Christians said, "Oh, that's just you'll get used to that. It's so annoying. They do it all the time." And they're like, "No, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my life. I was enamored with it. I felt God calling me." And
can I just put a anecdote, because I just saw it? It's topical, however, it's just
go ahead.
Whatever. But there were 3 missionaries recently, 2 of them Americans, in Haiti that were there just basically to spread the good word, and they got basically robbed by armed gunmen by 3 trucks who took out 2 of their security guards and then their lives.
Yeah.
Freaking crazy. I feel bad for them. However, you should, I know they think that they're doing good. However, because it is superstition, I wish they could have just stayed and given charity. Look, it's not to just say give charity to Americans and give charity to your own people. That's not what I mean. But I mean to do so safely in capacities that are able to actually, like, if you do something with like Doctors Without Borders, where they're going to have real types of security.
What
Well,
about
that's my PSA.
The guy who went to North Sentinel Island a few years ago, who's going to convert the natives to Christianity. They're notoriously hostile to outsiders. They've had very limited contact with the outside world. They've been isolated for thousands of years on that island, and they don't take too kindly usually to visitors. And they didn't take kindly to him, even though I'm sure he thought he was doing a good thing. But that is a guy who has faith. I mean, you can't deny that does take a set up measure of faith to do that. It's
easy to call it stupid. I do think that it is not the smartest thing to do. However, I get that their heart is in the right place and they're convinced. They think the shit's real, so they're trying to spread it. And yet, this is why I wish we could get rid of religion. So maybe if these people had good hearts, they would do so in some other capacity, in safe capacity.
Catholic priest who snuck into Britain when it was illegal to be a Catholic priest to minister to the Catholics in England who had no access to be able to practice their faith. And some of those priests, when they were found, they were executed. I believe some were hung, drawn, and quartered, which is an incredibly barbaric, brutal way of executing somebody.
And there, throughout history, unfortunately, religion basically being very cruel and sadistic to other religious people. Let me tell you.
And you see the Catholics burning Protestants at the stake. So they both did it to each other. Neither side has their hands clean. But
let's begin. Inquisition. Goodbye, sin. Anyway, sending so much love to also Dale Pastel, reminding us we are looking for empirical evidence. We are definitely not going to find it tonight. I keep on. I'm enjoying already what I know is coming. So we're not going to find it tonight, but that's okay. We're going on the other side of that. Just, eat the trans fats. The bad stuff for you. Sending love to Rachel. Sending love to Rachel Holen, reminding us that we are, we're not supposed to go to the nations around us and just really take femboys that we want. We're supposed to go to a club and then get a femboy. I continuously get into these arguments where, this is slavery. I feel like, I shouldn't say I feel like Matt, because Matt just feels like probably a lot of other atheists. This is what it feels like to come in contact with other people who defend slavery. And religious people, I'm sorry, but they're the only people. Have you ever met an atheist defend slavery? I haven't. I've never met, like,
as a moral good. No.
As a moral good, yes.
No.
Never a works program. Yeah, we seem to have that moral conundrum figured out. That's weird. All that subjectivity, and yet not having people as slaves bad. That's weird, James.
I mean, they can make some possibly valid parallels about slavery and capitalism and drawing certain comparisons in line.
Well, funny that you would say that. Rachel would say that. Rachel would absolutely say, speaking of her, she would absolutely agree with you. That's what she says. She says everyone's still in slavery because she calls away slavery. And then the sickles start coming in behind us.
She's not totally wrong. I mean, like, imagine this, Amy. So imagine this.
I agree.
You're the plantation owner, right? And you've got your slaves out there, and by law, you're required to pay for their food, housing. It doesn't have to be extravagant, but it has to be adequate for their survival. You have to care for them when they're sick or when they can't work. Anyway,
You have to just like no, I mean it's just like you have to take care of your other animals. Like your animals out there, they got to be fed. And
but all of a sudden, Amy,
place to put them.
The cavalry rides in and they say, "Okay, you can't do it like that anymore. No, that's they're not property anymore. Now they're your employees." And so what you have to do is take a portion of that money you were already spending for their care and just give a little bit of it to each one. And then
hold on one second. I just have to be that person. Okay, before we continue the analogy, I do feel that although it is a good analogy, that it's always going to be being owned over like checking into Walgreens. So because one, you can quit your job. But you know what I mean? And you go home and it's still your stuff and all this. Yeah. But I get you. I understand how, just like you can get into debt slavery and things like that. I think those things are all real. It's just.
Well, I mean, so
it's a good analogy as long as it's an analogy.
So if you could quit your job as a slave, the owner, he would have to pay people to go get you, to go find you, to bring you back, so that you could be forced to continue working for him. But they don't have to do that anymore. They just go out and put a sign that says help wanted, and the slaves come to them. The slaves come to them, please, yes, use my labor, derive more value from it than you give to me. Now it doesn't mean that slavery is
but hold on one second.
The same by any stretch.
Oh no, finish. You sounded like you were about to actually.
I was just going to say, because there were never any recorded cases of slaves making it to freedom in the North and then deciding this sucks. I'd rather go back and be a slave and go back to the hey, I'd like you to own me again. I'm really sorry I ran away. I thought it would be better, but it sucked. It was horrible. I was up there for 3-6 months. Now I'm back. Please let me work for you again. I'll work really hard. And that never happened. So
people want freedom.
It never happened. So it is a better state to not be owned.
But hold on. Southern plantation style slavery was a stagnant or dying economic system, with a majority of people unable to contribute to the economy. I think they liked it. I just think that it was dying out morally among people. It was the social, unfortunately, political issue of a time that should have been bygone, and they didn't want it to spread west. Or let's say the North didn't want it to spread west, and the South did want it to spread west. They wanted all the states that were going to join, at least ones like Arizona, Texas, all these states that happen across the a certain line, that they would be slave states. But as a comedian once said, I think Shane Gillis once said, that was the North's way of shooting the racism out of the South. That's how he said it. Though not quite. And then you had Jim Crow. Jim Crow. And then James' analogy at the end there with capitalism.
Although I would say,
buying my shit.
What's that? I say? I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. That's me half the time.
Oh, I was going to say only after, by the way, that was only able once capitalism had proven to be more profitable than slavery, and the political power shifted to the North, where they could be able to take these moral considerations into effect. But
sure, we eventually made it. See, they always say, oh, you probably wouldn't feel that way even if you went back in time. I'm very biased, and I'm probably being very naive. Maybe I'll feel differently in the future when I'm wiser. But I think you could teleport me back into a certain time period, and I would not be morally okay with slavery. It seems like an issue that was actually solved for thousands of years, and humans were just kind of greedy and dicks about it. Sometimes still happens today.
I mean, by that stretch, there were a lot of people that didn't like it. Okay, they didn't think it was ideal or good, but they accepted it as a necessary evil, much the same as you might accept factory farming today as a necessary evil, even though if it could be done without cruelty, you would probably want it to be that way, but realizing that's not really going to happen.
I think they also showed themselves, they built the Bible into the Confederacy. It said it really straight there that God gives us, this condones this behavior ordained by God.
Sure.
And gosh darn it, we are going to make sure it survives. But yes,
although
slavery.
I mean, it would have been abolished either way within 20 or 30 years. But obviously, it's better that it happened sooner than later. But obviously,
I'm just glad it happened. I would say it
happened.
happened.
It had a shelf life, although
I think it happened
has
later.
it has made a return in certain African countries after people in the State Department thought it would be a good idea to destabilize certain regimes they didn't like down there, and then they ended up getting something even worse. But that's politics.
Well, it is politics. I like this president. I still think he's very good. But one of the things I didn't like is getting out of Afghanistan. Once again, we're getting political. I don't like that we go there to begin with. But then once we are there,
right,
that we are then creating basically a system of norms and allowing them to have kind of normalcy again. And then that gets upended. And it's worth. I'm a lot of people want to know where their taxpayer dollars are going for. I didn't, like I said, I'll keep on saying, I didn't want us to go there. However, once we're there and people are actually depending on us and we built infrastructure, then
it was unavoidable.
Anyway, politics, it just repeats. So as topical as it is, you can just insert any other country.
What is like the channel I think that out there that is so silly is the infographics channel. Like I'm banned because if you put comments in the chat that like they don't know what they're talking about, they'll just block you. They'll ban you from commenting.
It's just funny because I teach on a graduate level. Part of my course is a course on infographics, and infographs have become this sort of nightmare thing because what happens is you're able to make a bunch of bullshit and they can almost become built-in gish gallops. There's so much stuff that for you to fact check every fucking thing on this infograph, they become impossible, but they're very useful if you can cite your sources and you can do them well and minimize the actual information, highlight the information you're actually trying to give.
Like they'll put out a video like what would happen in a nuclear war between the US and Russia, and it's like all that shit, the military's plans for that are so top secret. You have no fucking clue what they would plan on doing.
I actually do.
You're just pulling that shit out of your ass.
James, I know what happened. There's actually a recent documentary out called Fallout. And so if we go and watch.
There you go. No, they don't have a clue. They're just bullshit. They're pulling something out of their ass to make content. They don't know what the military's plans are. They don't know what the Kremlin's military plans are. They have no idea. It's just conjecture.
And this is just my view. I don't think the military knows what the military's plans are for things like that. So.
Hey, they might not either. Even they might not even know. But you trying to just guess what they would do. No.
I just always find it funny when people think they could go up against the military and they're always like, well, a Revolutionary War when people were separated by like months. There's going to be troops out here any week now versus like tanks rolling in from DC into Carolina.
Right. Well, yeah.
Just slightly different. Like I get that your M4, is very fancy. However, it's not going to go up against the tank or multiple of them or a drone. Well, but good luck with that.
The public, we're so disarmed, like since the Reagan bill that made automatic weapons cost more than cars. So even your local police department has vastly superior firearms
Because
even what
the weapons that you
your average
need
person has.
to protect yourself are vastly different than you need to overthrow a government. And so we basically just need to protect ourselves from, like, we left, we didn't lock the door at night, to, like, all right, we have a missile launcher to help us take down this impending monstrosity coming towards us. But to all those indie rocket launcher enthusiasts out there, I wish you luck. Anyway, I forget how we even got down this lane. Sending so much love. Slavery
happens.
bad. Yes, I love that episode because every once in a while people will quote that episode back to me. They'll be like, I remember, because it must feed them that one as a popular episode, and it's like slavery bad, slavery wrong. He couldn't figure that out on the Ten Commandments.
I mean, out of the top 10, he really had some more. That maybe if it was like the top 500 commandments, he could have fit that in there. But I mean, realistically,
once again,
only
this
10.
is another person's bit, but I forget who said it. But you're gonna put murder at number 6. You gotta lead with murder or end with thou shalt not murder. That's a closer or an opener. 6. But yeah, the first one he makes is you can't have other gods than me.
Well, of course, that's the most important.
You gotta be a little bit jelly. I mean, you're God, so why not have an obvious human emotion that sometimes humans struggle with, but many humans can clearly get over. But it's like a superpower. God just, he does it gloriously. His jealousy is like a different type of jealous.
It's a righteous. It's just. It's good.
Righteous. That's right.
It's a good jealous.
It's a good jealous.
Right.
He's a nice soft jelly. He's a jelly roll.
You owe him the worship. So if you're giving that to somebody else, it's like you're stealing from him. Like he is entitled to your worship.
Yes. Well, that's why we were made. Also, another common point atheists bring up: why does a perfect being need to be worshipped? Why do you even need people to begin with if he was perfect? Doesn't that mean if you have a need for companionship, doesn't that mean you have a human-like need?
Why would humans voluntarily have children? It's just more competition for food, right? And resources.
I can't help it. I'm sending love, Mr. Green. I'm trying to read get those bozos to recite the ending of the movie Gangs in New York. Not only could we, but we did bombard cities from the water. They had no chance at all.
Not able to watch the movie.
I cannot either.
Very, very, very dragging, slow.
Oh, it was? I didn't see it.
Yeah, you're not missing much.
I sometimes view us kind of like Mystery Science Theater. We're watching movies, but it's religious content. There's still bozos somewhere at the back end ranting over top of things. And also sending love out to davegar, reminding us the Earth is round and 4.5 billion years old, and this shouldn't be controversial. If it's controversial to you, that is because you are just get back to superstitious or conspiracy theorist. They're a great combo, James. They view themselves like peanut butter and chocolate, like peanut butter and jelly. Apparently, peanut butter is just a great mixer, which it is, to be honest. Yes, sending so much love to davegar. And last but certainly not least, sending love out to Regos, reminding us we have a skeptic biblical study. We read it from left to right. Hold on. James, just say something. I'm going to go say they're about to go to a concert. I'm just going to kiss.
We're almost done, folks.
Ooh, I know.
We'll let the
Listen,
video
okay.
momentarily.
I can't help it. A lot of housekeeping. It's been a little while.
Been a while.
Though it's been a while since I saw them live. It was a good concert.
Did you?
I did. My phone. That'd be shitty playing off a phone. Anyway, I had like that thought, like I'm gonna show you a concert over my phone. No, that's probably bad over like a webcam. Anyway, sending so much love to Regis and of course Ian Davenport reminding us that we are not a fan of apologetic arguments. We're a fan of listening to them, but they don't make new ones. They are hundreds, if not 1,000-year-old arguments that convince only people who already believe. Generally. But thank you so very much to Ian Davenport, and I am going to just be right back. 1 second. I'm going to hand it over to James, but then we are going to do the opposition viewpoint. We've been ranting. Time to let someone else do so. We're going to be watching Catholic Priest Explains the Devil. And I like this, James, because, you know, sometimes I get called a devil, and I always ask, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Okay, I'm a devil. I like it. I wear a lot of black anyway. So, do I get powers?
Embrace
and James, can I tell you? I never get powers. Like, there never seems to be a difference between being a demon and being a human. And so all I have to say is, like, I signed up for the demon plan, and yet the rewards club membership is not great. I don't know. How about you? Demons? What do you have? How did you think, in fact, about demons even growing up? Did you view them very different? I imagine viewed them very differently, or at all?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead. Demon. I think most Christians, well, they don't actually have very good theology about what a demon is, particularly. I think a lot of probably lay Christians would just assume they're the fallen angels. They became the demons, but then some Christians will say, no, fallen angel's a fallen angel. They're completely different. A demon is a demon. Fallen angel is always a fallen angel. The demons, I think, according to the Book of Enoch, which is apocryphal to most Christians, but some of them, they use it more and more because it provides certain answers that the books in the canon are very vague on. They don't really go into, because a lot of it sounds batshit crazy, but they'll say, oh, the demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. Those are the angel-human hybrids that died in the flood. But through some kind of strange loophole, they can't go to hell yet. They have to exist in this state between life and death, and eventually God will judge them and they'll go to hell too. But because some kind of loophole that they're stuck in our realm, have sort of access to our realm, sort of native to another dimension. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense, because it's all nonsense. But yeah. We're getting to the demons. We're getting to the demons, Stephanie. We'll get to Satan in a little bit. The Catholic Church's explanation, which eventually we'll get to a more. I guess this is a pretty scholarly Catholic explanation of it. Maybe more of a traditional Catholic explanation of it. We could get to another time. Like the Bishop Fulton Sheen, his explanation is excoriation of Satan and who he is and how he operates. And of course, they love to say that, well, the biggest trick Satan ever played on mankind was convincing man that he didn't exist, which, of course, okay, all right. Do you think he doesn't exist? Well, that's just because he wants you to think he doesn't exist. There you go. So if you think he doesn't exist, you won't be ready for him. You'll not be You'll let your guard down. You'll let him do what he wants to do. He hides. He wants people not to know that he exists. So, hey, you can't falsify him. And that's what religion relies upon, is the inherent difficulty with falsification, with proving a negative, proving something's not real, which is virtually impossible to do. So, but that being said, we have no actual affirmative evidence that any of it's real in its own right. Although it is really, really silly, the whole idea of Satan, the devil, is really silly, because why would an omnipotent being have an enemy? Like, who would sign up for that? Like, yeah, this God, he's all-powerful, all-knowing, immortal. You could never kill him, hurt him, injure him, depose him. There's really nothing you could ever do to him. But that's the guy we're going to revolt against. Yeah, who would do that? Who would sign up for that? And of course, they'll tell us that how intelligent and much smarter than we are Satan is. Oh, he's hyper intelligent. He's way smarter than we are, and he decides that this is the guy to revolt against. Actually, did have a Christian who came on stream and said, so I said, well, did Satan not know that God was omnipotent? And he said, yeah, actually, yes, that's it. Satan did not know that God was omnipotent, so he thought his rebellion had a chance to succeed. He didn't know. So he launches his rebellion, and I guess God's like, surprise, motherfucker. I'm omnipotent. You can't kill me. You can't get rid of me. I'm all powerful. I guess he didn't know. They didn't know. So anyway, thought it would be a good idea. He thought it would work, but it blew up in his face. And, hey. But as I've always said, it would be an incredibly boring story without Satan, without a devil, without an adversary. It just would be very uncompelling. It would be like going to watch a movie of Superman where all he does is just go around saving people, which is nice, but there's no opposition. There's no opposing force. There's nothing
James,
to work
you need
against.
to have conflict.
Right. You can't have light without darkness. You can't have fun with happiness without sadness. Yeah.
I also heard that there was a request, and so as promised, demons.
Yeah, Mary Sue asked God, surprise, I'm omnipotent, I can do anything. And that's the thing, like, we're supposed to worship and praise this, like, praise him for what? Did he earn any? Did he do anything to earn his? No, he just is.
Existing.
He didn't earn it. He didn't do anything. Well, I mean, he gets glory. He triumphs over his enemies. Well, duh. Of course. How could he not? He's omnipotent. How could he lose? He can't.
Though somehow he does often.
Well, momentarily, but I mean, how could you derive glory from defeating enemies that are infinitely weaker than you, that have no chance of success, but you just crush them anyway and declare your superiority? Go fuck yourself.
And all right, let's get into the opposition viewpoint. We are going to talk Catholic priest perfectly explains the devil, because it would be funny if it was Catholic priest imperfectly explains the devil. Keep on sending us your comments. Tag us at James W. and Amy Newman. And with that, let's have some fun.
Look at the 20th century, which is the bloodiest on record.
And we're probably on.
There's no question about that. The number of people killed, for ideological purposes in warfare in the 20th century was the worst ever. Can you explain that
horrific
entirely through psychological or political categories? I mean,
Yes.
it just seems almost comically inadequate to the reality to say that,
Why?
Hitler, Stalin, Mao, etc., are simply explicable politically or psychologically.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the.
Yes, it is. No, the only thing that we can say that religion really played was that there was religious prejudice, but that still falls under psychology. Anyway, this is one of my favorite parts for no reason, is that at this point you may be thinking, hey, is this a video of some guy critiquing the video we're about to be watching? No, it's not. Though it felt like it for like the first minute. But this is just a guy recommending the video that we're going to be watching.
Channel. Today I have another video of Bishop Barron, and in this video Bishop Barron is talking about the devil. Yes, the devil. This is a very important topic, and one of the things that Bishop Barron is showing in this video is that there is an antagonism in modern culture, in the modern world, towards thinking about a spiritual or supernatural sphere of evil. So in this video, Bishop Barron kind of touches on that. He also provides a biblical analysis of the devil. The devil is an accuser. The devil is a scatterer. That was really interesting.
Yes, because very specifically in the Torah, in the Old Testament, he's still a good guy. He's God's right-hand man. The accuser is not a bad thing. That was the title God gave him. He made sure people were faithful.
Idea that he mentions. In contrast, God is a gatherer. God is for the church. He's for his people. He desires all people.
Yes, he gathered people at the Tower of Babel and said, bye.
People to come to a fundamental knowledge of him and to be saved.
Or Noah.
So there's lots of
he
bad news
gathered.
in
He
this
gathered
video,
body
but
count.
it's ultimately leading to the good news of this video. And towards the end of the video, Bishop Barron gets into the good.
So what are we going to say about this beard, Amy? We need to do your beard analysis.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I love when people say that because it always makes me think, well, were you gonna not be honest? Yes, but it could use a trimming. We need to. I'm not saying it's bad. Not saying he can't pull off a beard. What I'm saying is he's starting to
getting to the point where, yeah.
Exactly. Now look, some guys could pull off the longer beard, but there is this awkwardness right here that
maybe it's because maybe it's a discontinuity with like the top of his head. It doesn't match. Maybe if he had like more of a more on top, it would work better. But I don't
possibly.
know.
But yeah. I just he could use a trim in here. He doesn't even have to get rid of the full facial features here, but it could use a trimming, or he's gonna have to commit to the longer and see how that works. Shop work it. There we go, James. That's my official beard analysis.
Be sure to stick around to the end of the video. Make sure
we
you
will.
The entire thought around
and it is the last we see of him.
Christian
so
perspective. Okay, that's really all I have to say. Please be sure
to like
and subscribe and enjoy the video.
Well, in the 6th chapter of Mark's Gospel, we find the account of Jesus sending his disciples out on mission. They're going to preach, they're going to heal. But the first thing he tells them is, you have authority over unclean
You're going to laugh.
spirits.
You're going to cry.
When they return from mission, the first thing they tell him is, we cast out many demons in your name. Now, when I was coming of age, I mean, even in the seminary, that kind of language was seen as, kind of primitive superstition, talking about devils, demons. Or maybe.
And I like this because what he's basically saying is, we're really supposed to be the intellectuals, but come on.
Maybe we tried to put a sort of literary spin on it. It was a symbol for evil. It was.
We were real intellectual. We were smart. We're like, come on, we're not going to be the full of shit theists.
Institutional sense. But here's the thing: that approach just doesn't do justice to the Bible.
Just doesn't work.
The Bible knows all about personal sin. It's very clear about that. It also knows about institutional disorder and dysfunction very clearly. But it knows about a third.
It seems to give
level,
most of the disorders, but okay.
A type of evil that is underneath, if you want, that undergirds the other two, is more pervasive and dangerous. This level of truly spiritual evil. I'm talking about fallen angels. Now, Catholics get up every single.
Also, can we just appreciate that? How he just, I can't tell if he's eating or if he really is just pondering there. Like, oh yeah, just doing Satan things.
Yeah. What am I going to do today? The
What
same
you
thing
doing
we do
today?
every day. Try to take over the universe.
I don't even understand. We often ask this, how he could even exist. And they're like, because God allows him to exist. So we're like, yeah, no, we get it. Like, if you let loose a murderer in there, and we're like, well, why did you let loose the murderer in there? And you're like, well, because he exists. We're like, yeah, no. We get the existing part. We get that you believe that. Why? Because he's omni, right? He can just be like Thanos. Poof, poof. He doesn't even need to snap.
He knew he would rebel before he created him, but hey.
Yeah, well, he knows all the fuck ups. I'm sorry, I don't mean to yell, but the Adam and Eve story makes no sense. It annoys me to no end. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. Like, what? First of all, I like the naming of the trees. It's like I have oak, I have pine, I have the knowledge of good and evil. Oh, this isn't a fairy tale at all. No, I remember having a lovely cup of knowledge of
Whale
good
dicks
and
throw
evil
off this one.
when I was a young lass. Don't you, James?
Look at those in the picture. That's people on the right side, on the right of Satan.
Yeah, I see this. There's people being like,
how small they are compared to him.
Are they having orgies over here? What is going on over here?
Like
I get these people are like, but like, and I guess he's eating people here, like munching, maybe. I can't tell.
Snacking.
James, we have to get Satan off snacks. I always say it's terrible because we share a timeshare with Satan, and you would have thought that Satan was the one who created the timeshare until you learn that James and I both share not only a timeshare with Gilbert Gottfried, but Satan.
Now try getting out of that timeshare.
I know. I don't know how they got Satan. And yeah, you can't get out. And I think it's the margaritas or the drinks that they gave you. But yeah.
I'm talking about fallen angels. Now, Catholics get up every single week.
Yeah, once again, just get into it. We're talking about fallen angels. We're not the intellectual theists we thought we were. Don't do that. We need to understand it through the lens of that Bible.
Our belief in God who made the visible world and the invisible world. It means a realm of spirits, realities at a higher pitch of existence. What's a devil but a fallen or morally compromised angel? They're good and bad human beings. They're good and bad angels. But see here.
Good and bad human beings, good and bad angels. Once again, could we see these angels? No, this is the invisible realm that he neatly created.
Here's the thing. Think of a wicked person who's also very smart, very talented, and well-connected. That's a truly dangerous figure, right? When you combine wickedness with lots of other powers. So a devil, an angel, a being at a very high pitch of intelligence and so on, who has gone bad, is a dangerous figure indeed. Mm-hmm. Now, do devils influence the world sometimes in very
Which I will say, that really sucks for the stupid devils. They just go out there, they try their best, and everyone's like, not falling for that, stupid devil.
Act in frightening ways. Yeah.
Good try, devil.
Involved
in exactly. They never fill their quota.
And some extraordinary stories ensue. But that's not the typical way that the dark realm intervenes.
Yes, tell us how the dark
in a
realm
much more
intervenes.
Indirect way. By suggestion, by
suggestion. Once again, really just making excuses. They're like, you know what? I wasn't actually greedy because I'm a dick. I was greedy because it was Satan. It does. It makes so much more sense.
Temptation. Something I featured in the Catholicism series. I think the most frightening religious painting in the world at the Orvieto Cathedral by the great.
Yo, that is frightening. Well,
Yeah, kind
not
of.
really, but I guess for them, I'm trying to think if this is G-rated frightening. No, not really, but we'll continue anyway.
Early Renaissance master Luca Signorelli, much admired by Michelangelo, by the way. But you see these frescoes there, and the most striking one is a depiction of the Antichrist.
First of all, that is hot. That's the hottest thing we've seen tonight.
It shows this figure, the Antichrist, and he's listening as the devil whispers in his ear. So kind of a classic symbol of this temptation. But what's really
interesting was he was whispering sweet nothings.
Interesting is the devil puts his hand kind of in the vesture of the Antichrist in such a way that it looks for all the world like the Antichrist's own arm. And it's a very clever way of suggesting how the dark powers influence us.
Your arm is my arm, baby.
Clandestinely, by insinuation, in such a way that, heck, it looks like our activity. And in many
I
ways,
like how he basically becomes an art critic, and this is the defense right now that we have for demons. Right? This is where we are?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yet it's the dark powers having invaded.
So I like the picture of him golfing here. I shouldn't roast him for that, but I'm sorry. That's funny for no reason.
Now, what are the signs of the demonic?
Type of shorts. I'm sorry. That's the last time I'm bringing up.
Which way is that? Him in the shorts, or is that the other guy?
I cannot tell, but it makes me so happy for no reason. I just don't know why it's there. It is what he wants to show off. Very proud. Is there a villa here? I don't know if this is supposed to be like something that we're supposed to know, a landmark, or that's okay. We thought way too much. I've thought way too much.
It's like golfing with the Pope. I mean, I don't.
Yes. And in that case, the Pope is the one wearing shorts.
What are the ways the demonic appears? Well, look at the names the Bible gives. The devil's called in the Greek ho diabolos. Our word devil, diablo in Spanish, le diable in French, all come from that. Teufel in German too.
Sounds like
Diabalein means to cast apart, to throw apart, to scatter. The great sign of the demonic is
when a guy just sits there at a tower and just scatters people. That would be a dick. That would be demonic. And I don't know. It's just not something we would think of.
Let's fuck with them, right? Let's make it so they can't understand each other. We'll just make them all speak different languages and just watch them jabber confusingly at each other.
Once again, I think I'm still just parroting Matt's point here, Matt Dillahunty, but it does seem like it was almost like they were doing a really secular humanist thing. They were coming together. They were seemingly working towards the greater good. And it could have been God was just like, oh, that is really cute. And instead he destroyed it and just was kind of a dick.
How boring.
That's why they're...
I don't want to watch them work together. I want to watch them kill each other.
Also, another clear fairy tale. Like that is how you're going to explain languages evolving? Oh, I forgot. Evolution makes us break into fits of rage.
Scattering. God is a great gathering force. When everything's come together
like in Noah,
and a community forms, that's a sign of the Holy Spirit.
Him.
The scattering power, that's a sign of the darker powers. When families get scattered, when business organizations, when communities, when cultures get divided,
that's just Satan.
That's the dark power.
That's right. Once again, sorry, Betty. It wasn't that you weren't able to get funding. It was Satan. Okay.
The other great name in the Bible is Satanas. That's the Greek that's based on the Hebrew word that means the accuser.
Yes, his actual job. And let me tell you, before you're about to rag on him for this, that was the job description. Okay? God put out an angel, hiring flag flag, hiring sign, and said, "Come on down. We need an accuser."
Yeah.
And he got
Go
one.
watch these people, and when they do something bad, tell me, because I'm not omnipotent yet.
Exactly. And the book of the bet against Job, I think, is fucked up. First of all, how can you ever make a law that says gambling is bad after reading this story? It's clearly sanctioned on the highest level.
Okay,
They're
well,
like,
God does it, but he knows the outcome.
Well, that's the weirdest. First of all, he knows the outcome and he still takes the wager. It doesn't matter even if you think the game is rigged. That still seems to
Satan
apply.
Still
You like
too.
gambling. Once again, I'm okay with gambling, everything in moderation. But if you want to have fun, knock yourselves off. But it just seems that a lot of these people, it's just like the abortion thing when they say, the be against it. However, there is some biblical ways that you can, take an unfaithful woman, so to speak. Who knows if it actually works?
Bitter waters or
bitter water, and then it will flush the baby out. So God actually seems to like sleeping around and gambling. So and he's jealous. He really is. I mean, like a guy that's more like a Tarantino villain in like a mafia style way. But sure, he's the good guy, James. And if you disagree, he actually has a complaint department. I love working at HR.
Yeah, you see that dock? Just keep walking. You'll get to it eventually.
Exactly.
Say hi to the sharks in the water, too.
Listen, the shoes we gave you may be made out of cement, but they were your size, so we think about you. We think about you a lot.
Accuser. Here's a little experiment. Try this
okay.
today.
At home. All right. Take your socks off this time and turn the lights on when you're doing hacky-packy tonight.
Examine your conscience and find out how many times in the course of the day you accuse someone of something. I bet you'd be kind of surprised. We do it a lot. It's one of our favorite indoor pastimes.
I get it. Like, we shouldn't be going out there and just randomly accusing people. But, like, again, the title is accuser.
Point the finger, blame, gossip,
What's up,
destroy someone's
What's up,
character.
Everybody?
The sign of the demonic is
got
accusation.
Even hotter daughters out of it. Come on. It is, basically win-win.
Up and confirms, and affirms someone in his or her personhood. The demonic is the accusing power. Here's a related title.
The demonic is the accusing power. Once again, that's you retconning it. The Jews very specifically think that the snake was a serpent, or another way of putting it, that it was a snake. Stop Alexa reminder. Welcome to the future. We don't have flying cars, but I get reminders shouted at me throughout the house. So that's
say Alexa, locate Captain Picard. See what she says. Say it.
Alexa, locate Captain Picard. I don't know. I heard it sounded like she was trying to connect something to a device. Anyway, I'm sure we just set off a bunch of Alexas.
Calls the devil the father of lies. God
is
true.
We know. Oh, yes, because once again, why would snakes be slithering on their body if originally they did not?
You like your legs, right? We all like our legs. Why would
all like our legs?
Not our legs taken away.
But then if it's Satan, why would you then punish all other snakes? I'm sorry, other snakes across the planet. This one snake got possessed by Satan, and thus you cannot have legs anymore. This makes tons of logistical sense.
Well, why would God send Adam and his descendants to hell because of what they did? He doesn't care.
Truth. See, and truthfulness about ourselves, about our relationships, about our family, about whatever it is, truthfulness is always the path of light. It's the path that leads to smooth functioning, truthfulness. The sign of the demonic is deceitfulness, is untruth. Think now of the way an untruth about you has perhaps wounded you in a very deep way. Someone said something about you that wasn't true.
Someone was like, hey, I bet if we ruin this guy's life completely, just absolutely make him want to die, that he'll still believe in you or he'll lose faith in you. That sounds like a good bet. Doesn't that feel good, James? Let's just ruin a guy's life. It feels good. It's like a whole heartwarming story. In fact, what they will often say as an apologetic is, well, look, he stayed faithful, right? Great. Smile. Everyone's gone but him. But he still believes in God. What a great... I tell that story at a wedding.
Right. But yet it wounded you in such a way that that wound is still festering after many decades. Think of the times you've wounded somebody with an untruth, you know? And again, the wrecking of someone's reputation, wrecking of someone's character by means of a lie. That's a sign.
Again, accuser was the title. And the example they give of lying is generally Adam and Eve. The story in which the one person being truthful was Satan, the serpent. God said, do not eat of this fruit, for you will surely die this day.
The day thou eat it, yeah.
Did they die? Eventually.
Amy, they died spiritually.
I know. And that's the... Because, once again, let me point out, if you make a threat and say, hey, in 900 years, you're going to die, not a threat. If you say that, hey, they died, so I don't know what died spiritually, as in they got kicked out. That's his way of saying died spiritually. That's not what it says. That's the interpretation. That's them just making shit up. It's not even in the book.
They were separated from God, so they needed to believe in Jesus after that Jesus would come and die for their sins.
But also, I love how
reconciled.
He's not going to have Jesus, which means he's damning people to hell for just years. That's fun. That's cuddly.
The dark power. Here's the last one, and it is the most frightening name. It's in the first letter of John.
Nipples. Doesn't matter the gender. We're having a good time.
The author refers to the devil as the murderer from the beginning. God is life, right? God is life.
Yes.
Whatever enhances life.
God is life.
Is of the Holy Spirit.
He's also taking the life out of you, one drowning at a time. It must suck to have to defend the Noah story. Because seriously, if you're watching a movie and it's the end of the world and it's just one family living, and you go, oh, where did this come from? It came from this one source. Generally, that source is not the good guy. The end of the world came from him? Oh my goodness. Thank you. No. Bad. Wrong.
That's why John Paul talked about the culture of death, you know? The sign of a dark power is always an increase in death. It's a negation of life.
Yes, you know, that would suck to kill someone like your son and then worship it.
Look at the 20th century, which is the bloodiest on record. There's no question about that. The number of people killed.
We did. We Godwin's law very early.
Warfare in the 20th century was the worst ever.
It was pretty horrible and horrific. But we did
entirely through psychological or political categories.
Yes.
I mean, it just seems almost.
We're back to
we had a lot more people to kill because of the modern science and being able to grow crops and being able to care for a much larger population that could then be killed, and then increase of technology. So that applied to warfare too. So we had better bombs and guns and bullets to be able to kill people.
Wasn't that long ago? This was during a time when we actually were starting to get machinery, where we were starting to get technology and the sophistication to unfortunately do mass murder on scales that were took time and years before.
Inadequate to the reality. To say that Hitler, Stalin, Mao, etc., are simply explicable politically or psychologically. I don't know. There's something about the.
And I like this because this is one of those like almost evolution things. Can you really believe it? You think it could just be explained? Just life coming from chemicals, James? Naturally?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that sociology and psychology can explain wars. Yeah.
The pervasiveness of violence and the destruction of life in the 20th century, that is all the marks of the murderer from the beginning, Okay.
A lot of them were religious men. The Vatican took the wrong side in that war. I mean, come on.
I mean, you wouldn't look like to the Old Testament and see lots of war and bloodshed in there, right? I mean, come on, that's good. That's God, peace, love, happiness, brotherhood of man. There's not a book full of going from one conquest to the next, one war to the next, one group of people that need to be exterminated because they're not us. Can you imagine that, Amy? A book telling people to exterminate other races of people because they're different than us. I mean, Mein Kampf, these horrors that we had to wait till the 20th century.
They often try to blame Mustache Man on the atheists. I'm sorry. Yeah. Mustache Man outwardly was a Christian. He said in the book that James just referenced that he was doing the Lord's work. Yes, he may have been a secret Norse pagan mixed with superstition, because we have a lot of skeptic pagans on here, but they were into a lot of weird pseudo-science crap as well. And so, yes. But don't try and blame it on the atheists, because the one thing they weren't were atheists, and they weren't really secular humanists.
So far, that's the bad news, if you want. Here's the good news.
That's the bad news. Here's the good news. By the way, James, the bad news. I'm glad we call it the good news. Here we go. We're at the good news.
The good news is, and it's central to Christianity, is that Christ has conquered these powers.
Oh, I got excited. I thought we were going to see like a really good crotch, but all right, here's Jesus. He's being all, oh, go demon, man. I guess that's what this demon's saying. It's like, man. Jesus is like, come on, demon, go away, shoo. And the angels are over here. I like this over here. The angels are basically like, yeah, that's right. Go, Jesus, go.
He's conquered individual sin, true. He's conquered.
He is really big. I feel like if this is the representation, then God and Satan are over Lego World.
Active institutional sin. But the Bible clearly witnesses to the fact that Jesus has conquered these powers. There's a great passage. Read it in the 2nd chapter of
Colossians.
Not
enough to get rid of Satan.
Borrowed from his own time. When a Roman general won a victory, he'd bring the leaders of the captive nation back, and he'd parade them in chains through the street to humiliate them, right? Paul says Christ, through his cross, has done just that with the dark powers. He's chained them up and has now made a public display.
First of all, this got kinkier at the last second than I thought it was. I hope that whatever we're doing in front of a bunch of people is what I hope it's about. What we're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Of them, he says. We read that language now. We think, what's he talking about?
No, that's what we're listening to. Yes. What is he trying to say? Well, we spent a good amount of time with him saying, listen, I know that outwardly we're supposed to be the intellectual theists. But hey, what if we weren't? I mean, okay.
That's exactly what
Oh.
he's talking about.
Naughty
Is what he would have known as a Roman citizen, a citizen of that world, is, oh yeah, they're humiliating these conquered people. That's what Christ did
humiliating
in the
them?
power of the cross.
Oh, kinky.
Which means we don't have to be beholden to these powers. See, that's near the heart of the Christian thing. They've been defeated, and we now can claim victory over them.
There we go. We can claim victory over demons. The end. Ah, James, I feel so inspired. I have so much more knowledge about demons, I think. Probably not. Anyway, this was a Catholic priest, perfectly explains the devil. Was it perfect for you, James? Was it as perfect?
I didn't really explain it very much, but okay. All right.
I saw some hot shots, though. The scary factor was a little We could have used more jump scares, but whatever. To each their own. But we have now are going to be transitioning into not only just the opposition viewpoint and these two ranters rant and rave, we are going to be opening it up into the open mic in a second. I may even throw out the link into Discord channels that just may have theists on there just because I want to bait them. I mean, I want to master them. Put that into any order you want. I'm gonna clickety clack. Anything else? Final thoughts, or we'll probably, if no one shows, we'll just keep on ranting. But demons, James, such a weird topic, though a fun one. Who doesn't love demons? All right,
Everybody loves a good demon once in a while.
That's right. And if you would like to join the panel at blah, 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 feel free to. And we are talking demons, devils. You got to have a bad guy, James. The movie just would suck. And so, it's a shame. You never hear from the serpent in the Torah again. That is the one thing, because the accuser and the serpent are two very different people. It's only Christianity.
Yeah, they don't connect them until much later on.
Yeah. And they hate when I say this, but Islam and Christianity borrow a lot from Zoroastrianism. They are basically a mix of that and Judaism. They mix and meld their beliefs. Of course, we have the Old Testament with a lot of the fables, but this dichotomy of the good and the bad, because really it's just God just being, it's rampage. It's really God and humans. Like demons are just very lesser, minor little things going on. Maybe they want to, someone's having a seizure, so they're like, let's just go with that. But it's not until Christianity, Islam, they really borrow this. Zoroastrianism has a heaven, has a hell. It really has this back and forth between the good and evil. And so you see this mixed in with Yahweh, who eventually becomes the omni-god that we know now. Fun time. So, but yes, I'll also pin it to win it, and I'll also throw it into discords of other channels that maybe disagree with us, because I just can't help myself. Pin message. There it is. Should I almost feel like blasting the stream here. That's a bad idea, right? Maybe just I was gonna say blast the StreamYard into those discords, but that might not be a good idea. But I'll just like sneak it in here. Who knows? Here and queer. I haven't talked about the LGBTQ agenda at all. I feel like Soros would get a little bit mad at me if we didn't. And there's so much on the agenda. Mostly just being fabulous. We have a glitter initiation where we just want to glitter as many people as possible. So we all need to do is spread some malleus gossip, and it's summoned. Yes, apparently all of the little bad things that humans do, it's because there are tiny demons whispering or, I don't know, giving us an aura of bad. The logistics are never there because they all sound silly and ridiculous when they try to explain it out loud to a skeptic. They love doing this shit when they're among people that believe it because people just accept it. Just go, oh, I had no idea. A demon has how many wings? Yeah. But these things don't exist in the real world. They exist in movies. Where they're cool and much better. That's where fantasy belongs and mythology belongs. And I'm not even saying that as a condescending. I will be the first person to go see those types of movies and buy those books. I love Dogma. I wish there were more movies about angels. It's why I'm writing a book about angels, but my angels are natural. I like that because I really do think only an atheist would write naturalistic angels so far, even though I don't know why that's not true for other things. But there's something about angels that too sacred for a lot of the theists. It's porpoise with a purpose to be sinister. We are about to open up the open mic. In fact, we are going.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, welcome back. We are going to go into the open mic with
Landlord is selling the property, so trying.
Really?
Yeah.
That's probably not a good thing.
Actually, well, right now it looks like it's all right. The
Okay.
new owner is interested in keeping the tenants. It looks like they're not going to jack the rent up astronomically right away. So hey, we'll take it.
Okay, so mostly keeping things the same.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay. Well, at least that's good. What's up, Bryce? What's up, everybody? Let's get into it. What's up, Darren? What's up to the world? Let's get into our Skeptic and Ranting open mic. What's up, Porpoise? We are Skeptic and Ranting on Catholic Priest Perfectly Explains the Devil. And how are you and what are your thoughts? Well, we can, I think. I heard we can't hear me, which means we probably can. Oh.
I hear you. I don't hear Sinister though.
I know she's talking. I think she's loading something because I see this. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Proof of Satan.
Hello, I can't hear a word anyone's saying. What happened here?
We hear you now.
Satan took over, and
there we go. Sorry, I don't know what happened. My sound just went out.
That's okay. That happens to me, basically.
Probably Satan.
Yes, probably Satan is the most logical.
Well, I found a realistic depiction of Satan here. At least the only one that matters to computer nerds. This is the.
How did you find a photo? It's crazy.
Well, he's a big FreeBSD fan, so he volunteered to be.
You know what that devil reminds me of? The Slingo Satan from AOL back in the day. You remember Slingo? Did you play Slingo, Amy?
I did not, but now I would like to. All I think that's funny is about that is he's wearing sneakers. Wearing basically tennis shoes or sneakers.
And of course, we know the devil's always been a huge Unix fan because Unix uses demons.
Of course.
Yeah, like the old email demon, like the mail demon.
I'm sure that's what the Catholic priest was talking about, right?
Yes, it was basically trying to say the world's best operating system for hackers. I think, probably.
Because that's what Catholics always do, and don't have some weird, like, Bible stuff and.
The second time I opened this book and money fell out. It's not real, but is money even real anyway? What are we talking about?
Was that like the story of the guy who asked Satan to fill his boot with money every night or whatever?
My goodness. I bet the devil earned it too.
The guy started putting a hole in the bottom of the boot so the devil could never fill it.
Oh my.
Well, I think I've heard this story, but mostly stories I know about the devil outside of the Bible are either that weird Mormon one.
There's a weird Mormon one?
Is there any Mormon story that isn't weird?
No.
In Mormonism, like Satan and Jesus are brothers. Like
Yes, but you, Jesus,
what?
and Satan are brothers too, James.
yes, yeah,
We're
that's true.
all brothers with Satan. First of all, anytime they tell me that and they
God and
try
his
and
wife
put
had
us,
sex and made
I
all of
always am like, that's fantastic. Can we invite him over to dinner parties? All right, we're good with this. And then they always stop trying to give logistics. They're like, no, you can't like it. Like, okay.
But I'm sure. I wish I hadn't gone grocery shopping. I feel like I missed out on a lot. Hi, Athena. Do you want to say hi to everybody?
Well, I'm not sure if you did miss out a lot. I keep on trying to think, James. Did he gaslight us? Like, did we learn anything about Satan throughout that entire video?
Not really, no.
I don't think so. He just like basically was an art critic for like a little while.
An art critic? I mean, the Catholic Church did at least commission some really impressive art.
We sure
Yeah,
did.
I think that there we go. That was probably.
Athena.
Listen, that's what the audience actually does want.
Michelangelo could paint an image of Athena's backside.
Listen, the Egyptians had things right. We need to worship cats. Cats already think we worship them, so they're halfway there.
You can take this off the screen if you want, or I guess
Definitely better than Hinduism with the worshiping the cows.
I wish I could wear. I like it. I love every animal, but I also Wendy's. I have like
You
a
can
deal
worship
with
the cow
that
as
is
you eat the
I
burger.
give her money and Wendy's gives me food. That's the deal we've worked out, and so it's been hard for me and the cow. Cow, please.
Hey, I mean, if God didn't want us to eat cows, he shouldn't have made them so delicious.
There you go.
Listen, I wish I could be vegan. Like morally, I am vegan, but like stomach-wise,
Well, as soon as the whole lab-grown meat thing becomes commercially viable and it's not ridiculously expensive, I might switch over to lab-grown meat just because there's no reason.
Well, in 1,000 years, when they don't have meat, when the lab-grown meat is much cheaper to make than the real thing, and there's only like 4 cows left in existence, then they'll be like, this tastes like cow.
Are you aware that our governor banned lab-grown meat?
Who's your governor?
Ron DeSantis.
Isn't he term limited and this is his last term?
Yeah, it is. But he did sign a bill banning lab-grown
All right,
meat.
and we suddenly have a conversion. Suddenly, Amy does believe in Jesus. Clip this up. I'm just happy to see him gone.
But I do have a suggestion, since they aren't allowing towns, cities to use bridges, anything other than red, white, and blue lights. And I want you to get your city to use these shades of red, white, and blue.
It's just funny how they try to say, they talk to us about virtue signaling, and then they're like, it has to be red, white, and blue. But yes, I agree. It should be trans pride. That is what it really should.
Remember when they had the thing like, oh, like you don't wear the American flag on your lapel? Like you have to have the American flag pin or you're not a real American.
Real American. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When did they decide this? I must have been sleeping through that one.
That was maybe 10 years ago. They went through this thing, I think, because Barack Obama didn't wear a flag on his lapel one time when he was running, I think, and so they say.
Looking back, they had so many phony scandals with him, like the tan suit and thing, and also this is I don't know if most people
remember the bowing for the Saudi king. They said they made it sound like he got on his knees and
Trump fucking.
But Obama's like 6 feet tall, and the prince was barely like a little over 5 feet. Right. Like if you see the picture, it's like he was going to have to bend over some to shake his hand.
Because he's a human.
He wasn't groveling in submission, like on the floor, worshiping this guy. It wasn't like that.
But he also they always talk about the conspiracy that he was Muslim. But if you look at the biography of his mom and dad, she was an agnostic, and he may have been anything. He was most likely an agnostic as well. Both his parents were agnostics, and they were educated individuals. They met at college, and so he may be agnostic as much as we never know, because they always give lip service to religion. Yeah. Unfortunately, in this, even the liberals,
he probably is agnostic, atheist.
Most likely, that's probably what he is.
But being a Muslim doesn't mean you're uneducated. There are a lot of Muslims at the university I go to.
No, it wasn't. But they used it as some conspiracy.
Like I have fundamentalist, extremist, jihadi Muslim.
I mean, I'm very proud. I mean, I have half my students. Well, not half, but like I have at least 3 or 4 each that are named Muhammad. But they do great work, and it's just I forget what the point was supposed to be. Except I just love my students.
I think we're just promoting the devil supporting eunuchs.
This devil supporting eunuchs, yes, most likely.
Unless someone has something actually relevant to say.
See, I was going to say that the devil would really be sponsored by Internet Explorer, but Internet Explorer is now dead. Now it's Edge. Now we edge people.
What a joke.
Well, as long as you have their permission.
Netscape Navigator.
Yes.
Why? Firefox?
Yes.
It's still around. You can find it.
Updated? Like a new version of Netscape?
I'm sorry, what?
It's updated? It's like a new modern version? Or like the 2009 version just patched?
It's just basically it's a scaled down version of Firefox because it's the same organization. So just use Firefox instead.
I do. I like Firefox. Though I'll be honest, I use Firefox and Chrome. I'm very weird just because I go both ways at all times. And I usually use like one on one monitor and one on the other.
Summon militia. But if you can get anyone in here who actually has something, I don't know. What's that? Great, I took the Praxis too, and now my brain's rebelling, even though I probably passed it.
Well, I will say that rebelling is kind of the theme of the show.
Hey, I mean...
And I do have to offer, this is my plea. I think everyone should worship Saturn, because Saturn is 50% softer than Satan. So that's just myself.
But you're comparing apples and oranges. What about compared to like cotton or silk?
Listen, I said what I said.
Cotton is only 25% softer than Satan.
James, and if you mix those fabrics, I swear to their God, apparently, that's bad for some reason. Even though that actually makes a better blend. You want to blend, I mean, I understand. Like 100% cotton sounds nice in your mouth, but they shrink. And so I would rather have a cotton polyester blend.
No, Amy, you're getting vain. You're worried about fashion and things like that.
I don't want my shirt to shrink in the wash.
We should really be focusing on God.
That's right.
Things
we should allow
for eternity,
James,
not worshiping a shirt.
We need to let our shirts shrink for Jesus.
Hey, I spent good money on that play with Pandas shirt. Import Pandas as PT. And I don't want it to shrink right away.
That's right.
You watch Panda? You read Pandas and People?
That is the Christian book, right? That's the one that they tried to ship as a
science book. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that happened in calling it a science book was generous. It was a creationist, young Earth creationist propaganda piece.
It's like an infographic before the internet was popular.
That they tried to bring into a Pennsylvania school district because the Discovery Institute was trying to...
Why my original state? Why?
It gets better, Amy, as a native Pennsylvanian. The story's not done yet.
Yes, exactly, because they...
Yeah, it led to the Kitzmiller versus Dover court case where it was exposed in a court of law.
They got the books thrown at them.
And
well, in an honest court of law, you could never prove evolution.
The members of the school board that pushed that were voted out the next election.
Oh, because that's how, they will often come for you. The religious right has power, fortunately, in this country. And we need to protect ourselves from their death throes, because the more smaller they get, the more radicalized they seem to be. Good times.
It was a rural area of Pennsylvania, which is slightly more conservative, but Pennsylvania is a swing state.
Excuse me. We refer to Pennsyltucky by what it is here.
I'm Pennsylvania Dutch. I'd prefer it if you didn't.
Listen, I'm sorry. And it's okay to boo at me, I will say, because I'm from Philly.
It's like literally there's a museum where my ancestors had their farm.
Listen, I will buy furniture from wherever you were from.
Okay,
Mormon Dutch.
That was a joke at Amish, really. I just find it fascinating that we all have this deal with the Amish, because to me the Amish are just very much a cult, but we've normalized them so much because they're like, well, they sell good apples and they have great furniture, so we're like,
Well, that and the tourist industry in Pennsylvania, and especially in the southeast Pennsylvania, does depend on them being there.
Oh, once again, did I mention how great a table?
I saw a video. I never realized they did this, but like them moving a building.
Oh, I've seen that too. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well,
like 100 people
here's
inside
the thing,
just carrying the damn thing. It's
okay. First of all, that is crazy. But I want to continue to point out, it's just because we flatten history that they're old-timey. They chose a random period, just 200 years. They're like, just this technology. They still have technology. They use plows. They use things. They use horses. It's just that they're like, electronics bad. God, no. And then everything else. But yes.
Not all electronics are bad. Most of them have telephones, at least, in the barn. And
well, maybe they have something for like a backup, but I would say is they're being towards their theology. I don't know.
Lunar, I do have to address this. What's in Pennsylvania besides Pittsburgh at one end and Philadelphia at the other? Well, it's a great place for hunting,
Six Flags. Sorry.
Gettysburg is there. If you're a history buff, you can go to Hershey Park.
I went to
Sesame Place.
I don't think that's in Pennsylvania.
No, that's unfortunate.
You can go to Valley Forge. You can go to Amish country. You can get some of the best food in the world there.
You have a heart. We have a giant, massive heart that you can walk into.
The Little League World Series is in Williamsport.
I'm just explaining my childhood. Anyway, let's go. Actually, I will say, so we'll probably go for 15, 20, we'll go for a little bit longer to see if no opposition viewpoint comes in. If not, the skeptics are going to just keep on ranting for a little, and we're going to wrap up because we had an opposition viewpoint. However, I'm going to keep on saying it so maybe Sinister, James, and myself can have fun. Come on, creationist. Your God doesn't exist.
Come
You
on.
know he doesn't exist, and you don't have good evidence. I'm just being spicy. I know you wouldn't believe that, but you should come on and defend him anyway. I'm calling you out.
Or if you can prove DNA is Turing complete, I'd love to see that.
Oh my God, speaking of Turing, I watched like a clip of The Imitation Game, and then it made me want to watch the movie. And I just saw the clip the other day, but I looked up the YouTube. I looked it up on YouTube because I'm like, you know what? It's the internet. I know that for $3, I can actually generally get any movie out there. For money, you can do anything. And so I'm like, okay. And then they gave it away for free. The Imitation Game by the company is free on YouTube. You can just go there and watch it right now, not pirated or anything. And it is the story of Alan Turing. It is great, at least from the clips that I've seen. And so I'm hoping the movie, because I'm going to go see the whole thing. But go check it out.
On Netflix. I saw it one.
Okay, I am going to give you one warning. If you have a problem with this, Alan Turing was gay.
Yeah, well, a warning to all British governments a few decades ago. Alan Turing is indeed gay. Please try not to be a dick about it. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Anyway, humans. Oh my goodness.
Except Allah, of course, we got a Muslim out there.
There is literally no God except Allah. I like it. Oh, I like that. It's like one of those you had me in the first halves. You can't say they don't have a sense of humor except Allah. Of course, Allah is just Arabic for God, though. I know that a lot of we have a lot of our Southerners sometimes get triggered by the word Allah, but if you're a Christian in Saudi Arabia, you pray to Allah still, even if you're not a Muslim. And so, but yeah, I get what you're saying. The Muslim version.
I think they use it more like a proper noun.
Well,
So,
what happens is in
I
our
don't think
country
that's,
and in the English way, we know what he means.
Yeah.
As in, because well, that's where it is. In the English version, now it means something different because most Christians, when they hear Allah, they think very specifically of the Muslim God. That's the main one they're saying. And I very specifically work for an Allah snack bar. It's a part-time job, but we give out pretzels and different snacks. It's a great bar.
It's like the way they're using it there to use it as just God. There is literally no God but God. He's specifically referring to Allah because that's the Islamic version of it. So
which is great. I will say, just
sense.
that helps us out because as atheists, what we do often is we eliminate all the other gods, and then we're like, great, now let's just talk about yours. So you're cutting out the foreplay for us. Great. What evidence do you have for Allah?
We just go one God further.
Yes, exactly. We're just one less God.
And they hate that line. But...
Oh, I love this. Hold on. Here we go. I like this though because it's almost like it's a backwards compliment, but I still like it. Atheist is one step away from Islam. There is no God but Allah. Now I will say that is the same thing that you said just a second ago. So, but I get you. You got to play the hits. But I often hear this is the Muslim pipeline that I have on channels sponsored by coffee. But
sorry, I have a math question for the person promoting Allah here. In what does 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 equal? And when you add up an inheritance that's supposed to be split into 24 parts out of 24, how do you split 27 out of 24 parts?
How? I
don't know. Well, actually, I do have an answer because it's just, I don't know if it was a copyist error in the Quran, but it's there.
There's lots of crazy. I don't want to say crazy, but I used to get a lot of arguments from Dawaists that said, you anti or criticizers of Islam do not read the Quran. And so I cracked open the Skeptic's annotated Quran and started reading some of my Quran. And it turns out there's some fascinating things. Like, first of all, the cutting of the moon is a single line, and that will continue to get me. And I get it. Maybe that's all you need. Apparently, for billions of people, that single line is enough to make them think that this one guy cut the moon. It's just, my lordy, give me a chapter, give me like, and I guess it is technically a chapter, but the actual cutting of it, he just does it in a single line, and that's it, and boom, and now billions of believers defend that he cut it.
Give me a moon.
Give me a moon. Once again, we're we're equal opportunists against cut the moon, no big deal. What's up, Victoria? The thing I always ask them is, how did he have oxygen? And then they always become Christians again. It's so funny. Or whatever. Well, he's God. He could do anything. Isn't it a miracle? Yeah, I know. That's the point. That's where you're supposed to not believe it. And that's not for your religion. That's for all the religions. That's the whole point. You're defying physics. It's a miracle for you. And you think all the other religions are magic and created by humans. We, as James said, we go one more religion. One more.
Because if you say like God, because I wouldn't consider Hinduism with all their gods any less reasonable than Islam.
I have to take coffee for this.
Yes, take some coffee.
Come on. And I also love you. By the way, I hope you don't feel hostile. As much we give you, crap and stuff, we actually love that you're here. We want opposition and stuff like that. So cut the moon and then joint the moon again. Easy how you are deluded. But yes, so cut the moon and how does that make it more believable, though? Like, I get it that it doesn't say. First of all, I'm pretty sure it's just supposed to be like a long gash. But if it's seriously splitting the entire moon, and then it comes back together again, how is that more believable? I don't understand. That is what you believe. Why? Why do you believe that a man was able to ride a magical creature? I don't want to say a horse, because every time I say a horse, they're like, no, it was a mystical creature. Okay,
Ruka?
Cool.
That would
something like that.
Are you sure that isn't a metaphor for phases?
No, it's very specifically. It's just like how they have a specific word for demons. They call them jinn. They have a specific magic beast that Muhammad rode when he cut the moon. I wish it was a Pegasus. That would have been badass. Muhammad had like a great chest, flowing hair.
Like a horse-donkey hybrid or something. I don't know.
So basically, it's the next plot of Shrek. All right. Religion. Once again, I don't mean to just rag on one religion, because, the theme really was taking pot shots at Catholicism, though they're all equally silly.
So, come in, wandering traveler, if you can prove that DNA is Turing complete. I'm talking about a specific type of code.
Yes. Very similar to what a Turing machine can satisfy. It just says B. I'll see right here. Okay. If I just told you, Allah just says B, and it is. Cease your doubt. And this is silly. All right. Well, all I would say is that if I just told you the universe is, so it is, then you would probably not accept that. You would want to know how solar systems form, how galaxies form, how the eventual Earth got here. Like, you would want to know how. But anytime we ask how God does anything, God just set it into existence. How did God make people out of clay? He just did it. He tried real hard. Oh, wow.
He spoke it into existence.
He spoke it, exactly. Which again is magic.
Existence. Of course, that tells us nothing, but I mean,
zero.
Wandering traveler, essentially what you're going to have to prove is that DNA can manipulate data. Turing complete essentially means that a computing system can do everything a Turing machine can do. Read and write data, change states based on the data, and go back and forth along the data. And that is enough to compute anything that can be computed. But it's a lot easier to just say, if you can prove DNA can manipulate data, and maybe you can, I will buy that maybe DNA could be a programming language.
It is an equivocation, such a horrible equivocation, because our DNA just does not work in the same way that when you go into like a notepad or a notepad and you're creating commands, our DNA is like, I wonder if I should leave comments or if I should make a logic flow and then leave comments. That doesn't do anything like that. Sorry, I shouldn't yell.
Don't make me make jokes that only two of us will get. I mean,
okay.
no one is going to get that non-coding DNA is where God put the double slashes.
Yes, well, no, that's exactly. He was like, all right, I'm just gonna put right there. That way, when they do view source on their DNA, they're gonna know exactly what I said. Oh, okay. Anyway, we're gonna do about. This is our 5-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to do our closing statements. We have been talking. Catholic priest perfectly explains the devil. We have a few skeptics here, however, if you'd like to talk with us, it's right there. And if not, I'm going to be sending us off to,
So
we'll
nice to be
see
on
if there's
for a
another
daytime episode.
It
once in a
has
real
been.
while.
And we were supposed to be on last night, and I was doing one form of work and another form of work, and then I just wanted to do a lot of nothing, and then now I feel good.
When does your semester end?
Oh my goodness, that's such a great question.
Because mine is over.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! What are you in Arizona? Well, no, are you in such a warm weather? You had no snow days. You're like, what is snow?
No.
Because how are you getting out now?
Yeah.
One they start earlier in August generally, but
oh, well, I guess it's Memorial Day. It's sometimes, right? If they're doing Memorial Day, I know that sometimes is a click. All right, that's fine. I have 3 more weeks,
and the only day
we can make it. We can do this.
They took off was for the eclipse. Because we were in the path of totality. So they had to extend school by 1 day for that.
Eclipse was fun. Did a unit on the eclipse, teaching kids what was going on. Don't stare at the sun, kids and presidents. Anyway.
Well, we were in the path of totality, so in totality, it's okay. When it's not in totality, don't do it.
Just get glasses.
You could think about it, but don't. But from a
yeah, I should do that data science project where I see if the Book of Mormon most likely has one author over the summer.
It does have one author. It's called Snake Oil Salesman.
It has at least one author. It may have as many as, I don't know, remember how many books there are in the Book of Mormon.
That's true. Just because I know it's Joseph Smith, I know there were others that were authoritative figures that probably
delegated it.
Yeah, what's his name? What's the Brigham Young and all those.
Brigham Young did not
guys.
contribute to the Book of Mormon.
He didn't? Wow, that's interesting. He was just a political figure that took over?
And a religious figure. And someone that Emma Smith absolutely hated.
Well, yeah, that's where the schisms start to come in too, and all that type of stuff. The Shia and Sunni have that as well, with the who takes over after Muhammad. Fun times.
Well, I mean, at least Mormonism is probably not going to spread far outside of the United States.
All right, I have one last question, and then we're doing our things.
Though.
Understand the Sunnah and Quran. Educate yourself before judging the Quran. This is great. This is what I've been getting for years. I have read a decent amount. I'm not going to say I've read the Quran cover to cover. I want to know the ants. All right. It's my final thing. And once again, I love that you're here. As much as we've been roasting and having the back and forth, we like it. And so please keep on coming back. But the Surah, the ant. All right. Solomon has a conversation that is not only so joyous to him that he laughs. He really is. He's enjoying the chatter that the ants are speaking to each other. And my question to you is
Probably makes more sense than anything Muhammad was saying.
Yes. And so, do you believe this? I mean, it's not just a well-known story. It's an entire chapter. It's an entire surah. Do you believe in the ant? That's really all I want to know. And then we're going to be heading out in a second. In fact, I think I'm just going to hand it over to Gig. We're going to do our outros. We're going to have Sinister. I'm going to be handing it over to her because we have in Skeptic and Ranting on Catholic Priests perfectly explains the devil. Dun, dun.
Did he?
No.
I was grocery shopping.
No, he most certainly did not, apparently. But that's okay. We still talked about a Catholic priest at least trying to, not attempting to, selling the fact that he was perfectly explaining the devil. But we love having you on, as always, Sinister. Where can people check you out, and what are your final thoughts?
You can check out my new channel, Mad Computer Scientist. I will be going over in a couple of days here, someone who has a proof that 1 × 1 = 2, and you don't need to be a mathematician to know that he's wrong about this.
That is some 1984 stuff, but that's okay.
He also played War Machine in one of the Iron Man movies. But I think one of the important things that the devil serves, as far as like a figure in our mythology, is that he's someone that points out the flaws and tries to improve, like our opponent in a chess match. Like, what's that Netflix show, The Queen's Gambit, where she goes on against her opponents, and she can see sometimes where she makes mistakes, especially early in that series. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Or you can actually buy The Has-Been Hotel, the newest book of the Bible, which you can find on Amazon Prime right now, where Lucifer just tries to give us free will, and the angels don't like that. Oh, and by the way, I did mention those math errors in the Quran. Personally, they don't really have anything to do with the truth of the religion. They could just be copying errors. They could just be translation errors in the version I used. So I wouldn't worry about them too much if I were Muslim. With that being said, be excellent to each other, and so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Thank you so much, Sinister. And actually, just step away for 1 second. I'm Sarah and James right back.
That's weird.
Hey guys, thanks for spending the afternoon with us. Work is calling me soon, so I'm about to leave, but it's still been fun. It's good to do a daytime show every so often. Buttercup's keeping the chair warm. Yeah, I'm still here, Victoria. Although, give me about an hour, I'll be gone. Yeah, Catholic priest perfectly explains the devil. Or say me, the biggest trick the devil ever did was convincing man he did not exist.
Yeah, they always like that. They try and put it back on us. When it's like, no, we were actually asking for evidence that he existed. But okay, sure. And okay, sorry, we have a toilet broke downstairs, and I was letting the plumber in. So once again, might have been Satan. However, these things just happen. It wasn't the Keats. The Keats are amazing. Internet sponsored by Keats.
Oh, hi.
And
Let me up there.
Yes, Penelope, our queen of the household. I'm pretty sure she runs the house, but that's okay. I do hope that you had a fun time on this episode of Skeptic and Ranting. Catholic priest perfectly explains the devil. Where I do love that one part where it was like we were watching a video within a video and a video.
Really.
But anyway, yes, where we watched a video from the channel TJ Seaney called Catholic Priest Perfectly Explains the Devil, Society's Disbelief in Demons by Bishop Barron. So for a devilishly good time. But I do want to thank my co-host James W. along with our panel, the Sinister
guys.
Porpoise.
Love you guys.
Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell icon to all so that you can see our premieres and join our live streams. Feel free to join our Discord. The link is in the description below, as well as all our fantastic channel members, which you can get with our evolving badge system and trigger some creationists, as well as our Patreon. Also, all love to any super chatters, super thanks, all of those stuff. But our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman, and we will all see you on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone. Wow.
Good night, guys.
Boop, boop.